Hello, St. Columbus. Some of you might be familiar with an Episcopal priest who was active in the 20th century named Robert Farrar Capon. Capon was an amateur cook, and at one point he drew upon his love of food and of cooking to write a book called The Supper of the Lamb. And in this book, he uses his background in amateur cooking as a way to do some really beautiful theological reflection about food and about life and about where God shows up in unexpected places. A lot of great stuff in that book, including even some recipes, but one of the very best sections, in my view, is about onions. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Onions. In the section that I'm thinking of, Capon begins to lay out a recipe for soup. But before he does that, he writes, "I must first teach you how to deal with onions." End quote. Capon instructs the reader to select an onion and set aside an hour just to sit with it. Just sit with this onion and look at it. Just take it in. Capon writes, "Admittedly, spending an hour in the society of an onion may be something you have never done before. You may feel a certain resistance to the project, but please don't. Onions are excellent company." End quote. Now, it might sound silly to you to be going on and on about onions, and frankly, I think you're right, it is a little silly. But I think to dismiss it would still be a mistake. Because if you bear with him, I think that the author gets to some real wisdom in his basic point. Capon points out that the longer you sit with an onion, the more you notice about it. Its particular shape, its papery thin skin, the texture, the scent, all that stuff. And then once you cut it, there's this whole new world inside. New textures, the smell intensifies, the layers emerge. You have pressed upon this onion, but after you press upon it, it starts to press on you in a certain way. Maybe tears come to your eyes because the scent is so strong. Capon says that the onion is no longer just an object that you use to achieve your end, in this case, making soup. You have stopped long enough to contemplate the majesty of the thing itself on its own terms, one tiny little part of God's creation. Maybe you're picking up that by now, for Capon, the point is not really about onions. It's about shifting your mindset away from task accomplishment and consumption and hurrying as fast as you can. Capon wants to shift that thinking away from sort of achievement-oriented and spend some time thinking instead about noticing where God shows up in unexpected places, noticing where God expresses creative joy in the world, including in really small places like where an onion is to be found. And Capon points us to St. Bonaventure, who says that everything in nature is the mind's road to God. So today I encourage you, like Capon, to spend some time in the society of the onion, so to speak. Look for God in the unexpected places in your life. And my suspicion is that you just might be surprised by what you find. Peace, friends.